Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Rudabarants on YouTube. So, for context, I actually have this series on my private Instagram account where I would just rant about whatever's on my mind for like 30 minutes, all on Instagram stories, and like one or two of my followers would watch it and then like it and respond to it, and everyone else would just like either watch it and not say anything or just ignore it completely. And I really love doing these things, these rudabarants, and I realized that I should like make this a permanent public thing so like you guys could enjoy it with me as well. Today's topic is actually something I feel really passionately about, and it's character deaths and the death of criticism. And I'm gonna be talking about Squid Game Season 3 and K-pop Demon Hunters, along with some other medias like Frozen, and then My Little Pony, right? Sunset Shimmer from My Little Pony, and what else? I'm gonna connect it to a lot of media basically, but those are the main shows or movies I'm gonna be talking about. So if you're interested in watching or experiencing any of them, then be careful because there will be spoilers here. But moving on to the main thing. So I recently watched K-pop Demon Hunters, and let me just tell you, I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so good. Dude, like I have been a BTS fan since like 2015, right? And my best era was around 2018 with Love Yourself Tear. And then, eventually I fell off a little bit, and then I just didn't connect with BTS's recent works as much as I did with the past. And that's okay, like everyone has a favorite era and stuff like that. But I just really missed like being a fangirl, like liking K-pop and listening to music. I'm not really like a stan of any other bands. I don't know why, I just can't really get into them like that. Though I do listen to other bands casually, like EXO, and then a little bit of Cat's Eye, a little bit of New Jeans, stuff like that. I'm trying to get into GOT7 as well. And then I've also recommended 80s and 17. There are a lot of cool bands, and I know that if I just like get into them, I might feel that same spark again. And maybe it's just my age too. I was 13 back then, and I'm 21 now. That's a crazy thought. But like, yeah. But either way, I'm a true believer in the fact that, entertainment, things that you like, should come naturally to you. You shouldn't have to work hard to like them. Like, unless it's a book. Like, if a book is a bit difficult to read, like I'm reading War and Peace of the Woman, if it's a bit difficult to read, then that's okay. You should just like look up the words, or like take your time with it, maybe talk it out with people, teachers, get it translated into easier methods for you. That's fine. But I feel like for shows, I shouldn't try to like a show. I shouldn't try to watch a show or like get through it. And I actually struggle with this a lot. For example, I'm stuck on Attack on Titan Season 3 because like there's just so much lore dumping. And I'm like, what the heck? And all of my friends are like, dude, what the heck? Everyone is crazy about Attack on Titan, but I just cannot get into it. And it's like still in my bookmarks. It's still there. And I always choose something else. I'd rather watch like lessons of like psychology by Dr. K, get my tea clocked, rather than hear about another Titan ever. So I've been struggling with that. And it's not just like animes that people have recommended it to me. Also stuff that I like started on my own accord. Like Haikyuu. I hate Tsukishima, by the way. I like everyone loves him and I don't get it. Like he's genuinely such a mean person. And he's so hurtful to not only Hinata and Kageyama, but also Yamaguchi, like his best friend, like the person he's the closest with, and like who loves him so much and who he also loves so much, but he's just like horrible to him, and I don't like it. Like I don't like the whole like being hard to get, being rude, being mean psychology, or like whatever it is that turns people on, because I frankly think kindness is really hot and really cool, and if you're just not kind to people, then you're just not in my good books. Like I hate it when Tsukishima's on screen. He sucks, and like you don't have to convince me that he's a good character. Like literally, this is gonna tie into the topic that I'm gonna start on, the death of criticism. People cannot handle negativity. Like every time I've told a Haikyuu fan that I hate Tsukishima, or maybe I'll post about it, people are like, "No, he's good. He actually turned out alright in the end." Or like, "In the manga, like when he's a grown-up person, he's like actually better." Like I don't care. The part of the show that I'm in right now, season 2, which is like crazy because it's like the best season of Haikyuu I've heard, but I'm having trouble going through that because like it was really engaging at the start, but then it went to the whole Tsukishima backstory era, and it's like, girl, I don't care. I don't want to know about his backstory. And then that's when I took a break from the show, right? And then I was like, I should start watching it again because I do want to watch Haikyuu. I want to see where like the characters I actually like end up, like Kageyama and Hinata and Sugawara. He's my favorite, right? Like what happens to them, I want to know, right? And also like Nekoma and the other schools, I want to know what happens to them as well. I just don't care about Tsukishima, but everyone else I am interested. And then I even finished like his whole character arc, his freaking trauma, his dark side, and it's just like him having miscommunication with his brother. Like, get in line. We all have sibling drama. Like, oh my god, it was so annoying. So just irritating. I just stopped watching it again. I'm like, you know what? That's crazy. That is insane. I am sorry that you had to go through that or whatever, but that does not excuse you being a bad person to other people. That does not excuse you just like, you know, being arrogant. Like, sure, you play good volleyball, but like, who doesn't, right? Like, please. And every time I've said this to people, they just defend Tsukishima and they just try to get me to like him. And it's like, no, like, I can have a different opinion. You can also have a different opinion. We can agree to disagree. I don't need to like the same guys you like. You also don't need to like the same guys I like, okay? Like, it's crazy. I like a lot of questionable characters too. I'm trying to think of some. Oh, like, this is a bit of a controversial take, but like, I like BoJack Horseman's character. Of course, I don't condone any of the stuff he's done. Those are horrible things, but I just love how he's written. I love how he's played in the show. I love how he's portrayed. Like, watching BoJack Horseman unlocked something in me. Like, I have done a bunch of terrible things in my life too, and just like watching that show, seeing all the horrible things he's done, and then like finally working himself to redemption, and then in the process like becoming a completely different person, losing so many of his loved ones, and just being left behind to pay for his crimes. I thought that was beautifully done, and I agree, like, a lot of people that I've wronged in my life are no longer in my life. They're gone, and though I like to think that I've learned from those mistakes and become a better person, I still can't expect them to like come back and be with me, right? Because like I wronged them really intensely once, and so they shouldn't have to deal with that again and again and again, right? So that's a controversial thing because a lot of people hate BoJack Horseman, but I enjoy his humor. I like it when he's being good to his friends. I like it when he's good to his love interests, and because I liked that good side of him, I hated it when he was bad, when he like tried to sexually assault people or rape people. It was just disgusting, and I hated it because like I rooted for this character as a protagonist and I wanted him to get better, and he did get better, but at a very great cost. Anyways, I just realized I'm talking about so many things except for like what I said I was going to talk about, but I'm going to get to that now. So I watched K-pop Demon Hunters, right? And it was incredible. Like, it actually made me excited to like listen to K-pop again, to stan a band again, to have biases, and to like fangirl and gush over these like beautiful people. Like, it doesn't matter if they're not real, because like who the fuck cares anymore, right? But I just thought, oh my goodness, Huntrix was so well written, okay? Rumi's character, Mira's character, Zoe's character, all of their complexities, all of their flaws, how they're candid with each other, but also like so good on stage. My favorite is Zoe, of course. She reminds me of myself. She's so fun and whimsy, and I love her. But like, yeah, it was so well done, and just something about seeing magical girls just singing and fighting to save the world just makes my day. It's incredible. So that was amazing, but I will have to say, I'm a bit of a traitor, okay? I actually like the Saja boys more. I know. The feminism is leaving my body when I see these beautiful, beautiful men, but I'm just a girl. I can't help it. So, yeah, I love the Saja boys. Oh my god, like I might even like them more than BTS. I don't even know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, so my bias is obviously Jinu. He's so cute. And here's the thing. Jinu is what I'm gonna be talking about in this episode. It's like the main thing for this episode. So, the thing about Jinu is that yes, he made a mistake. Okay? In the past, he was poor. He was given the offer to sing for the emperor and like have a good lavish life, and it was just an offer for him and not his family. And he left his family according to him, right? And there are a lot of fan theories saying that maybe he was under the pretense of being allowed to bring his mom and sister as well, but then like being proved otherwise at the gates, which I do like, I do support, I do agree with. Like, it's probably true because you can see in his facial expression, like, he really was not having it, right? But in my opinion, like, even if he did want to abandon his mom and sister, like, we don't know the whole story even then. Like, maybe he was thinking that, okay, I'll get the food and I'll like send them the money somehow and I'll like get them out of that misery, or like he was just sick and tired of like being poor, and he just wanted some sort of relief, some sort of freedom from this. Like, I think we all have been tempted by material greed and wealth. So like, I'm not justifying his behavior, but I'm saying like it's a very realistic reaction to have, realistic thing to do. And I don't think it's okay to demonize him, pun intended, like, for making a mistake. Like, yeah, he made that choice and he regretted it. Like, he was miserable in the palace. And I think, like, yeah, everyone makes mistakes, everyone makes choices that are wrong, right? And they regret it. Like, he regrets it. And he paid the price. The patterns grew and he became a demon. He was banished to the underworld, and he had to live with this shame, with this guilt for 400 years. The thing about him being selfish, working in his own best interest, like only looking out for himself and his benefits, I also think that is very realistic, a very human thing to do. Like, are you telling me you've never worked for your own best interest, for your own self, for your own life? Like, I know I have. Most of the things I do, like, unless it's hurting anyone or like is going against any of my loved ones, are for my own best interest. Like, girl, if I take a nap and like I'm just away from the world for a few hours, that's in my own interest. Like, I could be studying, I could be making my parents prouder, I could be working on something, and I could be watching something my friends recommended, I could be working on my connections with my loved ones and friends and family. But instead, I choose sleep for my own best interest. Like, I know that's a very simplified example for this, but what I'm trying to say is, like, people act like they're holier than thou when they talk about Genu or like K-pop demon hunters as a whole, and I just don't like that. I just wish people would think more realistically and be I don't know, like, be real, okay? Be so for real right now. Because like, I don't know. Like, Genu, he did that thing, right? He made the promise to Gima. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna like get you your souls. And I thought his plan was brilliant, okay? Fighting fire with fire defeating the Huntrixes by becoming a demon boy band is incredible. Like, that is such a good idea. If I was Gima, I would be so pleased with him. I think Gima is pleased with him because that's just the best idea anyone has ever had in a hot minute. And I'm so impressed. Like, I'm so glad this movie exists and I exist to watch it at the same time, because what the heck? That's incredible. So anyways, after Jinwoo makes that plan, he comes to Earth, he does his demon boy band stuff. When he meets Rumi, I like to think that he was a bit attracted to her, but he was still playing that hard to get cool guy thing. But I feel like the moment he really fell for her was when he realized that she was also a demon, right? And the first good deed that he does for Rumi is hiding the patterns that she had, because he didn't need to do that. Throughout the whole movie, like up until that point, he was trying to make her life more difficult, with Soda Pop, which is a great song, by the way. I listen to it all day. But yeah, so with Soda Pop, with the demons that he brought into the bathhouse, with everything he was doing, he was making Rumi's job more difficult. But when he found that out, something human in him emerged, and he helped his enemy. Like, sure, he liked her, but like, he didn't have to help her. Like, if he did what he was supposed to do, he would have gotten his memories erased. He would have gotten his pain, like, removed. And that's what he wanted this whole time, right? And then throughout the progression of the film, we see him want to connect with Rumi, right? He meets up with her and he asks Rumi about her patterns. And then she's very defensive about it. She's like, you know what? I'm not like you. And verbatim, because I just rewatched this movie and I came straight to talk about it because I wanted to talk about it and I wanted to like film a video on it as well. She says, demons have no feelings and they don't deserve to live. And then Jinwoo corrects her. He offers her a perspective that she's never had in her entire life, that no hunter has ever had in the years and generations of existence, because no one has really interacted with a demon and really gotten to know them better, except for maybe Rumi's mom. But I guess whatever she found out, she didn't really share with her friends because Celine made Rumi hide herself, right? So when Jinwoo tells her, like, yeah, demons, all we do is feel. We feel our shame, we feel our misery, and you must have some sort of shame as well because you also have these patterns, right? And Rumi gets even more defensive, but we can see her shell kind of break, right? She's like, okay, demons are being controlled by Gima, right? So we have to like empathize with them and think about them. And we see her talk to demons and like try to understand if this is a job that they're being forced to do. And I don't know if I remember correctly, but like in the beginning of the film, I don't remember Gima being mentioned. But then once Jinwoo tells her, she tells Mira that, and then Mira kind of speaks like she knows about Gima. But I feel like if they knew about Gima beforehand, then they would have empathized with the demons much sooner, right? So we see Jinwoo trying to bridge the gap in Rumi's understanding of this issue, right? That she doesn't know that demons are just as emotional and as vulnerable as she is. And it's kind of ironic and hypocritical for Rumi to say all of these things about demons when like she also is one, right? Like she was denying her origin, she was denying who she is, and that was what was causing so many problems for her. And I love this parallel with like, Spider-Man Across the Universe, where like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, I don't remember if he was the one glitching or if others were glitching, but like he wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man, right? And that's why he was calling rips in the universe. And also in like Frozen, Elsa, she was told to hide her powers, and then it just caused her more pain until she grew accustomed with them, and that helped her grow and love herself. So this pattern is really important, to like love yourself. You can also see this in Luca, where you're told to hide, but then Luca wants so desperately to be human. He just wants to exist, he wants to be. And there's a really beautiful full circle moment when he like learns to love himself and show his scales in front of other people, and he's accepted for it because they are told that it's okay to be a sea monster. And in the entirety of K-pop Demon Hunters, we see Jinyu convince Rumi that it's okay to be a demon. She needs to accept it if she truly wants to grow and just be at peace with herself and also with her friends and family, because living a double life is never okay. Harboring so much self-hatred is never okay. So why does Junior do that if he's truly evil, like a lot of people argue? It's because he's a good person at heart, and characters are allowed to redeem themselves and change and be better. One piece of discourse I see going around a lot in the fandom is that Jinwoo deserved to die at the end because of all his sins. And I don't know if I agree with that. And a lot of people argue that it's because he's so conventionally attractive that people don't really see, like, you know, who he is for what he does. And I personally disagree with that. Like, I still empathize with BoJack Horseman in a lot of the cases, even though some of the things he did was really bad. But I still believe everyone deserves redemption. Everyone deserves a second chance. And so I liked the fact that Jinwoo sacrificed himself to help Rumi, but I thought it was really narratively unsatisfying for him to just die. And when I rewatched the movie, I noticed that the only people who were actually slashed to death, besides Jinwoo was like absorbed by Gima, right? But Abby was slashed to death and Mystery was slashed to death. But Romance was just kicked, and Baby Saja was not shown being killed off in any way. So I like to think that they're still out there. But I just didn't like how they did not show any of the victims that was affected by the demons coming back to the universe, you know? Like, the movie just ended with like, oh, Huntrix is back, they're having their new comeback, but what about all the people that died in the hands of the demons? Are they like stuck with Gima now? Like, is that it? And then is Gima really defeated? Like, it just felt so empty, because like, you develop demons and you give them personality, you give them like something to connect with, you make them empathetic the whole film, and then at the end you still kill them and they still die. Like, I love a sympathetic villain, right? Those are my favorite things. So like, it did not seem fair, especially when Jinwoo, like, he tried so hard to be better, he tried so hard to be good, and I truly believe that he deserved to be good. So like, every time I've mentioned this fact to someone, they have also said the same thing, which is, oh, there's probably going to be a sequel. As far as I'm concerned, it hasn't been officially announced that there's going to be a sequel, but people just assume that there is. And it's crazy, like, how quick people are to defend this film. Because like, I'm not coming from a place of hate or malice. I love this film, and I have this concern because I care so much about the film and the characters. I'm actually like listening to the songs all day now, and then I also have my wallpaper as this like screenshot of Jinwoo from The Idol, because I love that song so much. And then this one girl was like, oh, you're following a trend? And I was like, no, I'm not following a trend, I just have this character as my wallpaper. And she's like, oh, well, he's trending, so that's why I said that. And I'm like, whatever. Normies, locals will never understand. But anyways, as I was saying, the whole thing, it's like, people don't criticize things anymore. People don't think like why something happened, how that makes you feel, and why you agree or why you disagree with it. Like, especially people I know, none of them said that like, oh yeah, I agree, they should have brought them back, or like, I see where you're coming from even though I disagree, but I think that with your logic you are right in your own way. No, the first thing they say is, no, there's a sequel coming, and I'm like, that's not a good enough answer. Like, the first part of something should still be coherent and complete and narratively satisfying. while leaving enough for a sequel or something. Like, for example, Sony Animation, same studio, they did such a wonderful job with Across the Spider-Verse, where the whole movie tells a story, and sure, we don't know what's gonna happen to Miles, but we do see a full circle narrative of Gwen, and it was like indirectly her story. It was about her and also Miles at the same time. So that film, even though it leaves me hungry for more, even though I'm so excited for the next film, like, I still think it's a complete story, which I did not feel with K-pop Demon Hunters, which is a shame because I truly feel like it deserved more. I heard that it was supposed to be 3 hours long, and there were like a bunch of stuff like the aquarium scene and Rumi's long hair and whatever. They cut it down because it's a kids movie, but like, I can't imagine any child not liking or liking the fact that the Saja boys or like any of the innocent people that were taken by the demons didn't come back, because we grow to like them. Like Jelly, the empathetic Saja boys fangirl, you're telling me you're okay with her death? Like, it's just not fair, and it's not narratively satisfying, because you make these characters so near and dear to us and then you take them away. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, and I really do not like that. I wish they spent more time developing the other characters as well. Like, I would have loved to know the other Saja boys. I think they're so interesting, and I'm loving all the characteristics the fandom is assigning to them. And I also love the theory that like they're all different parts of like K-pop idol stereotypes and stuff like that. And also about Derpy and Sussy, I love the interpretation that one person had, where like Derpy is traditionally this good spirit tiger meant to represent nobility, and the magpie is a symbol of the people, and the hat is actually the symbol of like power. And so Genu made it for the tiger, but the bird keeps taking it. So like the people keep taking the power because the power belongs to the people, and that ties into the theme of K-pop Demon Hunters as well, because like ultimately the fight is for the fans. To save the fans, you have to keep the fans to yourself so that their love and their devotion does not go to the wrong side of the honeymoon. And I just think this film is so well made. It's so rich in animation, design, fashion, characters, plot, dialogue, writing. It's just incredible. And I just wish it hadn't been cut for children. Because to be honest, I can't think of like a single child that I know who still watches movies or like shows anymore. Kids just like are on YouTube watching kids stuff or like on TikTok or something. I have not heard of children watching movies in this generation, and like every fan I've seen of K-pop Demon Hunters are like actual teenagers or grown-up adults like me. I'm 21 years old, okay? And I am fangirling about this. Like, I am the target audience, I like to believe. So it just did not make any sense, you know? And I was actually hoping that at least in the credits they would do something like, you know, in a bunch of Ghibli films, like let's say Totoro or Arrietty, they show what happens after the ending of the film, so you have a vague idea of what goes on, right? But this film didn't even have that. It was just like a nothing burger at the end, like about the whereabouts, about what happens to the Saja boys. It's just a nothing burger because it's implied that they're dead, and it's like, why would you develop them like this and make them have feelings and emotions and give them justified reasons to do what they do and still kill them off? Like, what are you teaching? You know, like, I love Huntrix, I think they're great, but I'm like a Saja boys girly at heart, and that really sucked. Like, the message of this film was self-love. You should love yourself and love yourself for who you are and accept yourself, but only selective people get to reap that benefit. Rumi did, and Jinyu didn't, and and we don't even know the reasons for the other Saja boys of why they're demons and why they signed up for this. And there's just so much potential here, and I do want to hope that there is a sequel coming up, and I would love to watch it. So that is that. And I want to talk about Squid Game Season 3 very briefly as well, because I've seen a lot of people be upset that Gyun passed away, right? And about this, okay, so by the way, I might talk about certain characters by like using their like not names but like how we see them in the show, because like I don't want to identify them with their player numbers because that's just disrespectful to me, but also like I don't really remember their names, or like I'm scared that I will mispronounce them, so I will just refer to them as how I see them, and I will put pictures here so you will also know who they are. So I want to keep this like as authentic as possible. So people are upset that Gyun passed away, right? And like so many characters passed away. The mom did, right? MG Coin did as well, and then the grandma and her son. Like every character that you might have even rooted for a little bit. Like I even knew someone who likes Namgyu. Like all of these people just died, right? And the baby was the only survivor, and that was crazy because like this baby came out of nowhere. Like legit, they were just born, and now they like have a bunch of money. So people were upset that Gyun passed away and he did not get to make it out of the Squid Games alive and, you know, enjoy his life, go back to his daughter or something. But that would leave the narrative open, you know? So we all know Squid Game wasn't supposed to have seasons 2 and 3. They were kind of pushed on the director by popular demand. And I honestly kind of love it because like though I don't like the directors having to do things beyond their will, there is something so beautiful that comes out of having a bit of resentment towards the project you're making, and you create actual masterpieces. Like think about the end of Evangelion. That movie was a hate crime. That movie exists because fans did not like the original ending of Evangelion, and so it was just like stuck in the middle of the show, right? And it's such a mess. Everyone dies, everyone suffers, and like the most like two of the most hated characters are the only ones living, right? And you're just left with this bitter taste in your mouth, and even the last words of the entire franchise is something I remember. It's how disgusting. Right? So like that's literally the sum of the entire Evangelion ending. Like of course the original one. There are like a bunch of reboots as well, but I haven't watched them yet. But yeah, it's just like a product of hate, and I think that those things are so interesting and incredible to see. So we can definitely see that in season 2 and 3, because like the whole part with the frontman playing in the games was like very kind of fanfiction-y. It was outrageous. We would never think it would happen, but it did, and like they form a bond together, and it's like so beautiful. But then he has to betray Gyun and go back to his tomfoolery, and Gyun dying at the end was so symbolic because like it didn't need to happen. If he just like pressed a button while fighting MD Coin, you know, he would have just saved himself. But he wasn't thinking about the games anymore. He was just thinking about the baby. And you know the last line, like humans are ... like that open-ended question like really lets you think about what humans are, what the show is about, what the whole question is. I watched the conversations between the director and the actor for Gyun and the frontman. It was really eye-opening. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. But yeah, so they talked about those things, and I thought that was incredible. And it's true, like yeah, the whole game was not supposed to have a happy ending. Like even in the first season when Gyun won, he was miserable, right? And when he was supposed to go back to his daughter, he gives it all up due to his like addiction and obsession with the game of like, you know, seeking revenge and winning against these people, even though he could have had like a perfectly happy life reconnecting with his daughter with a bunch of wealth, right? But when you go through all that trauma and all that like horrifying memories, you can't really continue your old life as normal, and I understand that. So I thought it was really symbolic and really necessary. Like, you compared the sleazebag Yoon was in the first season to like the man he became in the third season, and it's so admiring, so beautiful. And I love that scene where they showed the fire in his eyes. I thought that was like so masterfully done. And the ending with like the front man going to give Yoon's daughter the stuff he had left. That was also really sad, but really necessary. Like, this show was supposed to be a tragedy. Even the original ending of season 1, like the original ending of the franchise before it was expanded upon, was sad because Gyun didn't win even after winning. Like, he won, but at what cost? Just trauma, right? So it was never meant to be happy because it's a criticism of capitalism and our current society. So yeah, of course, the Squid Games might end in Korea, it might be captured and it might be stopped, but it continues in America, in another place. And I thought the whole cameo with Kate Blanchett was really interesting, was really cool. And I think in that show, those character deaths were completely necessary, because if Gyun remained alive, he would not rest until he made sure all of the Squid Games were stopped. Because if he knew Squid Games were happening in America, I'm pretty sure he would try to join there, and then, you know, it would just keep going and going and going, and the show would never have the satisfying ending to give a lesson, to teach a moral to people like it was supposed to do. So I think in that case, the deaths were completely necessary and masterfully done. Like, for a show that wasn't supposed to have 2 seasons, I thought it was very well done, you know? And people were mad about that. They were mad about Gyun dying, and they were mad about all the favorite characters dying. But those deaths were necessary. Like, for example, the diva, I call her the diva, I love her so much. She passed away because she went back with her broken foot to tell Junie, the pregnant girl, and also the grandma, that she found the exit, and then she was killed, right? Like, that was so devastating, but that's just kind of how the game is. Like, yeah, you might be kind to someone, but someone else might not be kind to you. And those are the prices you have to pay, those are the risks you have to take. And it's very pathetic, it's very miserable, but that's just the game, you know? So I think that made perfect sense. And people being unhappy with the deaths in Squid Game also gives a reflection of how we as a society just like have stopped having opinions and like using critical thinking on different shows and movies and content, and how it makes us feel and what we think is right and how justice should be served and what it truly means, you know? We don't really think about how things make us feel anymore. We just consume and we just forget about it, or we just take on the collective opinion that, oh, I cared about Gyun, I wanted him to be happy, so Squid Game should have had a happy ending. But the show itself is so miserable, the content is miserable, it's not supposed to have a happy ending. Like, Gyun surviving the Squid Game and getting to live with the baby would be fine, sure, but the game would still continue in America, and he would just be miserable his whole life. So I think the way he got to die as a hero was actually really beautiful. He died fighting for what he thought was right. And the same can be said about Jinyu, but, you know, for like a show with magic and demons and stuff, I do believe restoring people that were affected by Gima and the evil powers of being a demon, they should have been saved. They should have been given a second chance at life. So yes, I yapped a lot about this. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you look forward to seeing more, because I love making content and I love yapping and I want to do more of these. So thank you, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!